The first of the azaleas are starting to come out now, and they look really, really dramatic. You get kind of pink ones, white ones, red ones, sometimes even yellow ones. And they are in the rhododendron family, but they are a little like their own little group within the rhododendron family. They don't get as big as rhododendrons. They usually get maybe 10 feet. They can get 10 feet, sometimes even get that big. They come from some parts of Europe, Asia and North America, and they generally like growing kind of under trees. They're sort of shade loving, semi-shade loving, and you can see here they're growing underneath a flowering cherry here. And they are very slow growing. They have little, you see here on this little branch, you can see where last year's flower would have been there, and then it grows these little shoots around it. So where there's a flowering stem this year, this one hasn't come out yet, then when it finishes flowering, then about 4 or 5 shoots will come out of here, and that's all it does in 1 year. So you can imagine how slow growing that is. And if you look back on the stem, you can see that's where it flowered the year before, and that's where it flowered the year before that. So you can sort of see this like gradual kind of growth over time. But when they do get fully grown, they do look very impressive. And if you want to prune them, you can prune them directly after flowering. You can see here it's been pruned from growing over this hedge, and it's flowering just as much here. But you want to prune it just when it finishes flowering, so it's got as much time as possible to put on kind of growth for next year. But if you can leave them to grow informally, they do really well. And you see underneath this flowering cherry here, they're just growing up into the branches. They just love growing under trees. They're just like naturally a woodland plant. And there are loads of different types of azaleas. Azaleas are usually, you could tell them from rhododendrons, from other rhododendrons, because they tend to have narrower leaves. A lot of types are deciduous, and some types are even scented. They like it just like the other rhododendrons. They like acid soil. They won't really grow very well in a chalk or limestone area. And if you have got an acidic soil, they just want another one of these great big flowering shrubs that you can get. But so you must be careful when you buy an azalea, because a lot of them are not hardy. So some types are kind of warmer parts of the world where they will not survive in our cold winters. But a lot of them, like this, will be fine outside of the winter, really, really tough and hardy. And they're kind of very low maintenance, nothing much grows under them. They're evergreen, or a lot of them are evergreen, some aren't, but they don't tend to have too much growing under them. They tend to keep the weeds down. They don't tend to have, they tend to be quite low maintenance and easy to grow. And then they have this really long flowering season where you can see that there's loads of flowers out at the moment, and there's still tons and tons still in bud. So and you can see here even smaller buds. So they have a sort of a long flowering season, and they look very, very